Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. This is Osama Sayyid from Ahmadiyya.com. Today's video is about the eclipses that Mirza Ghulam of Qadian claimed were signs for his truthfulness. I'm going to read various pages from his own books where he talks about these sun and moon eclipses and how they are, testament. They testify as to his validity and his, truthfulness. And I show you also the way he tries to turn and put words and meanings where they don't belong. They don't exist. For example, I'm going to read the Hadith itself, which you'll be interested to know. The Hadith itself, which speaks about the sun and moon eclipse in Ramadan. This is not a Hadith from the Holy Prophet ﷺ, which, if you look in Beacon of Truth, which is an Ahmadi book, and if you're Ahmadis and you've read these books before, you will see that they refer to it as they try to let you think that it's the Holy Prophet Muhammad bin Abdullah, son of Abdullah, which is the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. But this hadith is actually Muhammad bin Ali. So Muhammad bin Ali is the one who originally stated, who supposedly originally stated the following hadith. And Muhammad bin Ali said, إن لمهدين آيتين لم تكون منذ خلق السماوات والأرض تنكسف القمر لأول ليلة من رمضان وتنكسف الشمس من النصف منه ولم تكون منذ خلق الله السماوات والأرض. Now this, again, I reiterate, this is from Dar Qutni, Sunan Dar Qutni. This is from this hadith. Second thing, I'm not even going to go into how valid it is and the strength of the hadith and this sort of thing, because it's not really even needed anyway. The points that I'm giving are sufficient enough to show that Ahmadis are being deceived with regards to the sun and moon eclipses, that Mirza Ghulam and the whole Ahmadiyya organization tried and continue to try to make it out as if this was Allah's way of showing. Allah, the creator of the whole universe, this is Allah's way of showing that Mirza Ghulam of Qadian was the genuine Mahdi and a real claimant to everything he claimed: prophethood and Mahdihood and being Jesus and Ibrahim and the Holy Prophet and all this sort of stuff. I begin. This is Tuhfa Golaria from page 132. This is in Ruhani Khazain, volume 17. Similarly, a hadith from Dar Qutni also testifies to this point, that Mahdi Ma'ud will emerge at the head of the 14th century. That hadith is Inna al-Mahdina ayatain, which is the hadith I just read, by the way. Okay, so I continue here. The translation of the whole hadith is, for our Mahdi there are two signs. Since the foundation of the earth and the heavens was laid, this sign has never occurred for any claimant or prophet, Ma'mur, Mursal or Nabi. And that sign is this, that the moon on the first night of the specified nights will eclipse, and the sun in the middle of the specified days in the month of Ramadan will eclipse also. Yani, in the same days when the Mahdi will proclaim his claim in front of the world, and the world will not accept him, a sign will be shown in the sky to testify to him. And it is that the moon and the sun will eclipse on the specified dates in the month of Ramadan, which is the month of Nuzul Kalam, the revealed word. Obviously I follow one now, because I'm only putting in the pertinent parts. I'm not going to read every single word, then you'll lose track of what exactly I'm trying to say here. It continues to say, now from this hadith, the 14th century is clearly fixed. because the sun and moon eclipse, which speaks of the time of the Mahdi and presents a sign for the Mukazzibin that happened in the 14th century. Now this is a straight up lie. Mirza Ghulam Ahmad of Qadian has lied here, because it's not even, lies, it's not even strong enough. I wish there was something. He just completely fabricated something and put it into the hadith and said, clearly it's fixed by 14th century. The hadith, as I've read it out, obviously I know some people don't understand Arabic, but I will go through it after I've read all his stuff in my own remarks. Go through it with the actual English wording, which, it's very straightforward. There is no number, and there's no year or anything like that referred to there at all. So for Mirza to say, from this hadith, the 14th century is clearly fixed, that's a lie. That's deception. He's deceiving his followers, and the whole organization has deceived their followers on this point. I continue. From Zamima Rasala Anjam Atam, page 330 to 332. Again, this is a translation. This is from Urdu to English translation. I'm reading just the English because I don't know Urdu, as you all probably know. Okay, I begin now. Similarly, it should be seen with justice that with what power and shine the lunar and solar eclipse prophecy was fulfilled, and the heavens were witness to my claim. But the evil Maulvis of the era are also deniers of this, especially the Ra'is of the Dajjalin, the chief of Dajjalin, Abdul Haq Ghaznavi, and his whole group. On them be alf la'nat, that's 1,000 la'nats, curses. So 1,000 curses. In his impure advertisement, he insistently says that this prophecy has not been fulfilled. O profane Dajjal, the prophecy has been fulfilled, but the bigotry has blinded you. The prophecy's actual words by Imam Muhammad Baqir in Dar Qutni are as follows. Inna la Mahdina ayatain. He goes on, he says the whole thing again, the hadith again. And then he goes on to say, Yani means. So Yani, for our Mahdi there are two signs specified. And since the creation of the earth and the heavens, these two signs have never occurred at the time of any claimant. And they, the signs, are that at the time of the Mahdi, the moon will eclipse on that first night, which is the first night of the 3 nights it can eclipse. In other words, the 13th night. The 13th night. And the sun, from the 3 days it can eclipse, will eclipse in the middle of those days, which is the day of Ramadan, yani the 28th day of Ramadan. And since the earth was created, this coincidence has never occurred for any claimant, that at the time of his claim, the lunar and solar eclipses have occurred on these dates in Ramadan. Now, obviously I will continue reading in a second, but this, I have to clarify that the hadith does not say of the possible nights or anything. This is all Mirza Ghulam with his deception, under the guise of him trying to explain to you that these are the only possible days it could happen anyway. He tries to say to you, no, those 3 days are clearly written in the hadith. It doesn't say anything like that. The hadith just says eclipse will happen in the beginning of Ramadan, and eclipse will happen in the middle of Ramadan. It doesn't say first of 3 days or nothing and all that sort of thing. But anyway, I'll continue and I'll comment on this later on. Yes, okay, so continuing. He says, the Holy Prophet stating this, again, this is a lie because the hadith, as I just clarified to you and you have it on screen, it's Muhammad bin Ali. It is not Muhammad bin Abdullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is Muhammad bin Ali. But Mirza Ghulam goes on to say, still lying and saying the Holy Prophet stating this was not for the purpose that the lunar and solar eclipses will occur against the law of nature. Neither does the hadith contain such a word, any such word, but the only meaning was that before this Mahdi, no truthful claimants or liar had this coincidence, that he claimed Mahdiviyat, which is Mahdihood, or Risalat, messengership, and at that time, in these dates, in Ramadan, the lunar and solar eclipse had occurred. So these Maulvis should have, if they had any doubt about this prophecy, presented a former instance with evidence from a book in which it was written that a claim like this has already occurred in the past, and at his time a lunar and solar eclipse had also occurred. But they, the Maulvis, didn't even look into that in that direction. And they have presented this idiotic, nonsensical estoppel that the meaning of this prophecy is that the moon will eclipse on the first night of Ramadan. And on the 15th night of Ramadan, the sun will eclipse. 15th day of Ramadan, the sun will eclipse. La hawla wa la quwwa. From which word did these challengers understand this meaning? O fools, O blind ones, the defamers of clerichood, just think. This is Mirza Ghulam. He just said all that. I just said that. Again, I'll make a quick comment. Mirza Ghulam, he does this. It's really, really awful the way he does it. It's like such a confidence trick. He tries to say, oh, you foolish people, oh, you're so wrong. Where did you get that from? It is clearly there in Arabic. It says the first day and the middle of Ramadan. So his supposed opponent said the same thing back. They said the hadith says first day and the middle, which is 15th, because the Ramadan is 30 days, so the middle is 15. So they just said that. So Mirza Ghulam comes and says, oh, where did you get that from? You know, it's a confidence trick where he tries to accuse you of not understanding. Continuing here. So I continue here. For the Jews, God has written the example of that donkey who has books on his back. But these people are plain donkeys, and they are deprived of even this honor, that they should have a book on their back. And this is Mirza Ghulam insulting the, maybe they were scholars, maybe they weren't, whoever, they are his opponents at the time, who was telling him that he's not a Mahdi and this eclipse thing wasn't for him. Mirza Ghulam also, he says in this writing here, he goes on to say something like, from where is it understood that this lunar and solar eclipse would be extraordinary? The Hadith says that this has not happened since the creation of the heavens and the earth. That, anyone would categorize that as extraordinary. Mirza Ghulam goes on to say, where did these people think, where did they get this from, that the lunar and solar eclipse would be extraordinary? Again, it's like he's creating an alternative reality. You tell him this is white, he says no, that's black. The hadith says it's supposed to be extraordinary. He's telling you where are you getting that from? It's not supposed to be extraordinary. So it's quite again, it's his whole deception and his whole manner of speech, and the way he used to try to pressurize people into believing him rather than actually them looking into the actual wording of things. He used to just want them to just trust his confidence and his pressure, rather than checking for themselves, and they would have found out at that time that he was a liar. Continuing now, the significance of the prophecy is that this sign has not been given to any other claimant, whether he is truthful or a liar. It has only been given to the Mahdi Ma'ud. If these cruel Maulvis can present such a lunar and solar eclipse for any other claimant's time, then they should present it. With that I would undoubtedly be a liar. Otherwise, do not deny this amazing miracle due to malice against me. O Maulvis of Islam, open your eyes and see to what extent you have erred. Death is better than a life of ignorance. I have to stop there again. Death is better than a life of ignorance. Mirza Ghulam, who all he did was spread deception and demand basically ignorance from his followers, because he doesn't want his followers to read anything. He wants them to be ignorant. And he says death is better than a life of ignorance. Anyway, I continue. It is clearly evident that in this hadith the lunar and solar eclipse has not been made special. However, what has been made special is that the occurrence is with the Mahdi. Its occurrence is with the Mahdi. Obviously, Mirza Ghulam keeps repeating the same thing in various other pages that we have. The same thing, trying to convince all these people that he is the Mahdi, and this sun and moon eclipse that has happened is testament to his truth and all sorts of stuff. He says it, at least 5 times in different ways. And then he continues and he says, now I have given much explanation that I have made the actual meaning naked. If someone still does not understand, then he is mad, which I believe the word is pagil, mad. So I continue now. This is again translated from Urdu to English. This is from Chashma Ma'rafat, page 329 to 330. That's Ruhani Khaza'in, volume 23. And this is a hashia, it's a marginal note. So on the side of the page, Mirza Ghulam has written that on his page. This is a hadith of Dar Qutni, that there is a sign for the Mahdi Ma'ud, the promised Mahdi, that God will show a sign in his time, that the moon will from the designated nights, يعني 13, 14, 15, will eclipse on the first night, and the sun from its designated days, the days that God has designated for its eclipse, يعني 27, 28, 29, will eclipse on the middle day. And both the lunar eclipse and solar eclipses will occur in Ramadan. And it is mentioned in one hadith that at the time of the Mahdi, this event will occur twice. Now that's a lie again. That's a lie again. I mean, he's just added that there because when you, obviously, as long as you listen to the rest of the video, you'll hear what I've got to say. This eclipse, I mean, I'm going to present you evidence that it happened in the exact same form 4 times at the very minimum in the 19th century. The 2 that Mirza Ghulam is claiming for himself, 1894 and 1895, but also 2 other years which I will go on to explain to you and show on screen the scanned papers to prove from official government documents. But here he's lying, where Mirza Ghulam is lying here, where he says at the time, he says that the hadith says that this will occur twice. Where is that hadith? I challenge any Ahmadi missionary. I don't say normal Ahmadis because again I don't have nothing against normal Ahmadis. I've got something against the missionaries and the organization for lying to their followers and deceiving you. If you're an Ahmadi listening, I challenge you people to present that hadith, a genuine hadith, and show that this sun and moon eclipse is going to happen twice as a sign for the Mahdi. Show me that. Anyway, I continue. This is Mirza's translation of the page as previously stated. So I continue now. Accordingly, both of these occurred twice in my time in Ramadan. Once in this country of ours, the second time in America. And we are not concerned with how many times the lunar and solar eclipses have occurred in these dates during the month of Ramadan, from the beginning of the world until now. Our aim is only that since the human race has appeared in this world, the lunar and solar eclipse have occurred as a sign only during my time, for me. Before I continue to the next one, obviously Mirza Ghulam, he found himself in a bit of a pickle, as they say in England, a bit of a tricky situation because the sun and moon eclipse happened twice. So 2 years in a row, it happened 1894 and 1895. Now the hadith doesn't say anything about it happening twice or anything like that. So Mirza Ghulam has to try to make it seem like it's intentional by God and tell you that it happened in this country of ours, so India, and the second time in America. But the point where he's actually lying to you, so I don't know how many holes I'm going to show you now in this whole sun and moon eclipse thing that Mirza is claiming. The second time happened in India too, because I'm going to show you on screen that it happened in India. He's here saying it happened in America, but it happened in India too. So his theory of trying to say east and west, no, it happened in India the second time as well. So east and then east again. And I'm gonna put this up on screen, so you'll see it when I start talking about the other eclipses. I continue now from Chashma Ma'rafat. This is continued. And before me, no one was fortunate enough to have this coincidence or circumstance that on the one hand he claimed to be the Mahdi Ma'ud, and on the other hand, after his claim, on the appointed days in the month of Ramadan, the lunar and solar eclipses had actually happened. and he had declared the lunar and solar eclipse as a sign for himself. And the hadith of Dar Qutni does not mention anywhere that the lunar and solar eclipse has never occurred previously. I have to stop there again because this is again more lies. Dar Qutni says that since the creation of the heavens and the earth, this sign has not happened. But yet Mirza Ghulam says that the hadith does not say that it has never occurred previously. It does say that it's basically saying that it's never happened since the creation of the heavens and the earth. But obviously Mirza Ghulam does all his technical sort of stuff and tries to confuse you. Anyway, continuing with the translation. The words are clearly present that the lunar and solar eclipses have never occurred before as a sign. As a sign. Then he goes into this is the feminine gender, this is the masculine gender, and this says this. He's trying to take you down a route of to confuse the reader and make it out as if he's so knowledgeable of the language of Arabic and feminine and masculine and all this sort of stuff, and divert the attention from the fact, all the various holes that I've presented to you from this hadith, starting with the fact that it's not even the Holy Prophet's hadith, continuing on and on and on. He tries to take you down this little sort of philosophical sort of route, as well as linguistic sort of alleyways, to make you get lost and forget that this whole thing is a sham. Anyway, continuing on with the translation. Hence, if anybody thinks that lunar and solar eclipses have occurred many times before, it is his responsibility to show the claimant of Mahdi, who declared the lunar and solar eclipses as his signs, and this proof should be certain and conclusive, and this can only happen if a book of the claimant is presented, who claimed to be the Mahdi Ma'ud. Again I stop. Look at the way Mirza Ghulam, if any of you sharp listeners, this is supposed to be the guided one. Allah sends this guided person. Look how sleazy he speaks, how he sets these little terms. The other person has to have written a book. So if there was another claimant who didn't write a book, Mirza Ghulam is going to say to you, no, that doesn't count because he didn't write a book. Since when was being an author, a critical part of being the Mahdi or a prophet? Since when did you have to have a printing press and stuff? What is this ridiculousness? You have to have written a book. Anyway, continuing on. And it should be written that the lunar and solar eclipses that occurred in Ramadan, according to the specified dates in Dar Qutni, are a sign for his truthfulness. We are not concerned with the mere occurrence of solar and lunar eclipses, even if they had occurred thousands of times. As a sign, this has happened at the time of a claimant only once, and the hadith has proved its authenticity and truth through its fulfillment at the time of claimant to Mahdihood. Obviously there will be a continuation. There's going to be a short other video to just, even though they are weaker points, they're not strong points. The strong points we're trying to show you here, I will continue in my remarks part, which is just after I read this next page. But they were other claimants to Mahdihood, even though none of us would even take them seriously anyway. But we're just saying they did claim it, and there was a sun and lunar and solar eclipse in the middle of Ramadan. Even though the criteria is wrong. Those middle days and all that business, that's wrong. The hadith says first and middle, that's it. So again, Mirza Ghulam has shifted the goalposts. He keeps changing the terms. He's changed the whole thing about the hadith. And then he says to you, they have to have written a book. And then also, but no one else has claimed and all this sort of stuff. It's just so much confusion. And all of that, all it does is confuse people, and they lose sight of the pertinent points, which are, again, I'll be mentioning in my remarks section because I don't want to repeat myself. So I'll continue with this page here. Listeners are probably fed up of how many times Mirza Ghulam wrote this thing. Believe me, this is just a handful of times that we have translated to read. He's written it more times than this, so you'd be fed up, more fed up if you read his actual books. This is from Nur al-Haq, page 197, that's Ruhani Khaza'in, volume 8. And within the people of Mecca, a passion has been born which verifies this news, and I have read in a letter that they are anxiously waiting for the lunar and solar eclipses. And they are waiting for it the way one waits for the crescent moon for Eid, the Hilal. And no home remains in Mecca whose inhabitants don't make mention of this while they are asleep and awake. It is the scheme of God who wished or intended to spread this light. And I see that the people of Mecca will enter the group of Allah in multitudes. And this is from the God of the heavens. I mean, look at the arrogance of Mirza Ghulam again, and what a lie. Supposedly all the people of Mecca are waiting, like desperately to wait for the sun and moon eclipse. And this is when he was alive, so this is 120 years ago. And look how he says here, they will enter into the group of Allah. So they're not in the group of Allah at that time. The people of Mecca, Ahl Mecca, who know Arabic better than him, who were probably better Muslims than him most likely, because he was an awful Muslim. If you look at other videos, you'll see why I'm saying such a thing. Supposedly they were not in the group of Allah, and they're waiting to enter into, his group, which is cut off from the whole of the Muslim Ummah anyway, and he's not even going to pray with the people of Mecca anyway. But yet, no, his group is the group of Allah. Anyway, now it's the remark section. These are the translations from Mirza Ghulam of Qadian's selected pages, because obviously he's written it many times about the sun and moon eclipse. We've, the team, my colleagues, they've translated these various pages just to show you examples of what he said, so that I can make the point to Ahmadis, a sincere appeal to any Ahmadis listening. I see you as a brother or sister in humanity, unfortunately, because Mirza Ghulam has declared that anyone who's not Ahmadi is not Muslim. So obviously, if you're going by your Prophet, I'm not, we're not brothers or sisters in Islam. But I sincerely appeal to you to ponder and think about this stuff. Put aside Mirza Ghulam's deception, because it's a huge deception what he's done, what he's perpetrated, the confusion that he has created, the added words, knowing that most of the Ahmadis don't know Arabic, so they won't be able to read this hadith from Dar Qutni and initially even begin with the fact that it's Muhammad bin Ali. It is not Muhammad bin Abdullah, who is the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his name is Muhammad bin Abdullah. Bin means son of. He is from that family. This Muhammad bin Ali is not the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The person who said this hadith out is not the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But Mirza Ghulam will have you believe that the Holy Prophet did say this, and it wasn't him at all. The Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam may have mentioned other hadith generally about the sun and moon eclipse, nothing to do with claimants, nothing to do with Mahdis, nothing to do with additional prophets. But this hadith in particular from Dar Qutni is not from the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is sincere. This is a sincere appeal. We are all appealing to you because we know how big a deal this sun and moon eclipse thing is for Ahmadis. It was never a big deal for me when I was in it, to be honest with you, because I don't go with these things. I don't go with dreams and all that sort of thing, because there can be a lot of deception in that. So I try to look at the facts. I try to look at what did Mirza Ghulam bring? What did he do exactly? Why should he be referred to as the Mahdi? What did you do for Islam to deserve that title? I do not go with dreams. I do not go with a sun and moon eclipse or an earthquake here or a flood there, because this stuff happens anyway. And it's not, unless it's written in the Quran that it's going to happen, then I'll believe it, because that's the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's no error in that. That's the word of Allah. But it's not written there, and you've got a hadith here which is not even the Holy Prophet's hadith. So this video primarily is intended to show you that the hadith itself just says, now word for word, it says, I'm going to read in our English now, the translation, yeah? For our Mahdi, there are two signs that have never occurred since the creation of the heavens and the earth. That there's an eclipse of the moon in the first night of Ramadan, and the eclipse of the sun in the middle of Ramadan, so the 15th day. And this has never happened since, it's never happened in basically the creation of the heavens or the earth. That is it. That's the end of the hadith translation right there. There is no of the possible days that it can happen, which Mirza Ghulam has stuck in there, or if you look on Al-Islam or whatever, they just stick these words in there. That's not the hadith. Now this hadith, as I just said to you, it's not even the Holy Prophet's hadith. It is not Quran. It is not Quran for somebody to come and further dissect it even more and give you all these tafsir of it as if it's some deep Quran. This isn't even Sayyidina Muhammad ﷺ's hadith. And even if it was, there's not a high percentage of these hadith that are false anyway. But this one is not even from the Holy Prophet. So think about all these negative points. All these negative points to show you that this is not, that Mirza Ghulam is deceiving you. You've got the hadith here that I've just explained to you. I've just translated it to you in English. The way the Ahmadiyya organization keeps adding in of the possible days. They've put that in there themselves, and the further point to that is the hadith says that this sign has never happened since the creation of the heavens and the earth. Mirza Ghulam has gone and twisted that, and I say twisted like 180 degree twisted it, changed the meaning of it by saying, that means that there hasn't been a claimant when the eclipse and the sun and moon eclipse happened in Ramadan. There has never been a claimant. The hadith is trying to say to you that this phenomenon, because this is meant to be a miracle. It's meant to happen. It's never happened since the creation of the heavens and the earth. I hope, dear listeners, you're with me on this. You're with me. You're with me in terms of your listening and understanding where I'm coming from. It's never happened since the creation of the heavens and the earth. That the moon gets eclipsed on the first night, the sun gets eclipsed in the middle of Ramadan, the 15th day. Alright? This whole point is meant to be a seriously dramatic hadith, basically. It's meant to be so dramatic, telling you this never ever happened since the creation of heavens and the earth. Now, a second point I want to say, it's like a small point, just food for thought. This never happened for the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. This never happened. Don't you think that if a sign was supposed to happen and it's never ever happened since the creation of the heavens and the earth, shouldn't it have happened for the Holy Prophet ﷺ? Why on earth do you need to have somebody called Muhammad bin Ali to tell you that this is supposed to happen? Then you get someone like Mirza Ghulam of Qadian to come and tell you extra, to translate extra and dissect it so much as if it's some deep hadith, like a Quran deep meaning, which it isn't. It isn't at all. And don't forget that, these are hadith, people, they look at the pathway, they see this person said it to this person said it to that person. They could mistake words. Mirza Ghulam has taken these words as if it's 100% accurate, like the Quran. Any one of these people in the chain of the narration could have made a mistake in one of the words even. Yet Mirza Ghulam dissects it as if this is the absolute word, as if it's the Quran, so we are allowed to go deeply into it. What if one of the people in the chain of narration added a few words or missed a few words? But yet Mirza Ghulam comes and dissects it as if it's fact, 100% fact, like Quran. You have to think about this. I know it's a lot to take in. It's a lot of information. I'm covering so many different points. But this is why Ahmadiyya is such a maze. That's why Ahmadiyya is so confusing. Because you've got Mirza Ghulam, who did have some form of ability. He had a good ability into how to confuse people and, bury his claim with loads of various things. Like as we just saw here, this hadith is less than 2 lines. Mirza Ghulam can write about that. God, I don't know how many times he's written about it. It's less than 2 lines. He's added so much into it and changed the meaning completely. You have to ponder upon all this sort of thing. So the hadith Come back to my point, the hadith is meant to be some sort of miracle, phenomenon. Yes, Ahmadiyya organization will tell you, no, it's impossible that the moon can eclipse on the first night. It's impossible. Well, that's the whole point. The whole point, if this hadith is even true, is that it's meant to be a miracle. Never happened since the creation of the heavens and the earth. Not what Mirza Ghulam is trying to say to you. No, it's never happened when a claimant has said that I'm Mahdi. You think the whole earth has just been waiting just for the Mahdi? Wouldn't the whole earth been waiting for Islam, for the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ to bring the message of Islam with the Quran? Again, I say to you, what on earth did Mirza Ghulam bring for him to merit even this hadith, if it's true? What did Mirza Ghulam do for him to merit, for him to deserve this hadith, that the sun and moon eclipse has never happened before and it's for him only? Well, what on earth did he do then? What? Nothing. If you look at our videos, all he did was he divided up Islam. He cut his own followers away completely from the rest of the Muslim Ummah. And he did all his best, utmost, to make his followers loyal to the colonialists in India, the British invaders in India. This, and remove jihad for his followers, which it's not even a pertinent point for the Muslims anyway, but it's key because he tried to do it. He did this to make his followers more subservient towards the British invaders. That's another video, we've covered it. But I'm just saying to you, that's all he's done in a nutshell. In a nutshell, and all the rest of it is deception. So why on earth does he merit? Why on earth does he deserve this sign? Just think about that. Now I talk about, as I said earlier, I promised earlier that I'm going to talk about when these sun and moon eclipses happened in the exact form, subhanAllah, in the exact form as Mirza Ghulam claimed. The same, in his way. Now, I hope you're with me on this. In his way. In his way means what? The way he said of the first possible days, i.e., was it 12, 13, 14, whatever that is, the first possible days, first of the middle of the 3 days, and then the middle of the 3 days towards the end of Ramadan. Alright? Now, we have got here, and you have it on screen. Now remember, Mirza Ghulam he claims to be Mahdi, obviously, but he stated that the moon and the sun eclipsed in 1894, and then in 1895. This is true. And again, I said earlier in the video that actually in 1895 it happened in India again, even though Mirza Ghulam tries to say to you, no, the 1895 one was in America, for the West, basically. He's trying to say it happened in the East and the West. No, it also happened, maybe it did happen in America, I don't know, but it happened in India, and I'm going to show you the proof on screen. It happened in India. So again, if this is meant to be some miraculous sort of sign, why would it happen two times in a row, 2 years in a row? Why would it happen for? Okay, so the first one, again, these are all examples from the 19th century. First one from 1851. In 1851, the eclipse of the moon happened on July the 12th. This is in India, okay? Not from Iran, not from anywhere else, in India. The eclipse of the moon happened on July the 12th. And the eclipse of the sun happened on July the 28th. Now you see on screen, this is from the official government records. Now, if you've seen our other videos, you know full well who the invaders, the occupiers, the colonialists, who was running India at that time. It was Britain. So this is from the British records, official government records, because they are very good at keeping records, which is something that you should, give them credit for, because, without that we wouldn't have had this evidence in front of us. They show in their records that Ramadan started on the 1st of July. It started on July the 1st, 1851. And obviously the eclipse of the moon happened on July the 12th. Now, July the 12th is of those possible days that Mirza Ghulam states, of the middle days of the possible 3. Now, I'll tell you, remember that now. So it happened on the 12th of Ramadan there. July 12th, it happened on 12th of Ramadan. Even though Mirza Ghulam stated that it's meant to happen on the 13th of Ramadan. But you will see what I'm saying. Here it happened 12. But in one of Mirza's claimed years as well, it happened on the 12th as well. So you might be thinking, oh, that's 12, that's not 13. No, for Mirza's one, it also happened on 12. And the eclipse of the sun, July the 28th. Again, this is, Mirza said 13 and 28. This happened on 28. Like in Mirza's one, I think it's 1895 one. I'm not 100% sure, but I'll go through it now. That happened on the 28th as well. So that's the first one where it's happened. Mirza Ghulam was alive at that time, but obviously he didn't make any claim or anything like that. But I believe during this one there was actually a claimant, but we'll cover that in another video, inshallah. So yes, next one is 1872. The first one is 1851. Second one was 1872, where Mirza, I believe, was 32 years old or 33, because he was born in 1840 or 1839. Okay. In 1872, we've got, let's see the dates here. Okay. The 15th of November was the 13th day of Ramadan, and that's when the moon eclipsed. So 15th of November, 1872, that was the 13th day of Ramadan. And on that night, the moon eclipsed. So this is exactly what Mirza stated, the 13th day for the moon and the 28th day for the sun. Now yes, the sun eclipsed on the 30th of November, which was the 28th of Ramadan. So again, this event, clearly 1872, happened precisely as Mirza Ghulam claimed in his own twisted where he's changed the meaning. As I said to you, the hadith does not say these middle and all this sort of stuff. That's why it's actually more confusing for me looking at it, because me looking at it now is looking at the falsehood basically, and it frustrates me. So then I don't, the hadith does not say middle of the possible days or any of that sort of thing. But let's show you just what, according to what Mirza said, according to his criteria, this happened in 1851 and 1872 as well. Now we move on to 1894. In 1894, I've got the dates here. Okay. Where we got here? 21st of March. Now this is what I was talking about. Yes, 1894. Okay, so 21st of March, 1894 was the 12th night of Ramadan, and that's when the moon eclipsed. Remember, Mirza said it's supposed to happen on 13 and 28. But in his claim, this is the first year it happened, this is his claimed year, where he takes it for himself. It actually happened on the 12th. The moon eclipse happened on the night, the 12th night. Not even the 13th, even according to his twisted meaning of the hadith. It didn't even happen on 13th, it happened on 12th. So this one is exactly like the example I just showed you about 1851. That happened, the moon eclipse in 1851 happened on the 12th of Ramadan, just like here it happened in 1894 on the 12th of Ramadan. The sun eclipse happened on the 6th of April, 1894, which was the 28th of Ramadan. Okay? So that's 1894. Now in 1895, the moon eclipse happened on the 11th of March 1895, which was the 13th night of Ramadan, which is according to, again, this is exactly like 1872 basically. It happened on the 13th, so the 13th night of Ramadan, the 11th of March 1895 was the 13th night of Ramadan, and that's when the moon eclipsed. Following on, the 26th of March, which was the 28th day of Ramadan in 1895, the sun eclipsed. So the sun eclipsed on the 28th of Ramadan there. So again, as I've said many times, repeating myself, whole point is I'm supposed to repeat myself so you can understand. This exact, on the 13th and 28th, that happened in 1872. So this is for the 1895 one. It happened exactly the same way in 1872. Even Mirza was alive at that time. As I said, 32, 33 years old possibly. And the 1894 one, the way it happened, it was the 12th and the 28th. So the moon eclipse was on the 12th of Ramadan, sun was on 28th. This happened in 1851, again the same. 12th of Ramadan was the moon eclipse, 28th of Ramadan was the sun eclipse. So this is proof to you that this was not a miracle at all. And in fact, these books, these papers that you see in front of you, now just you have to understand the level of advancement with astrology at that time, is that the British government were very obviously meticulous with keeping records, but these are advanced information. They're telling you in advance that this is going to happen. So it's not in the past. They're telling you in advance. All of this is during Mirza Ghulam's time, so you can have an understanding. Because a lot of Ahmadis, they have an impression that Mirza Ghulam's time was a time of such, like lack of education, lack of advancement, lack of everything. No, they even had these sun and moon eclipses written down in their books, before they actually occurred. Well in advance. So anybody who was a deceitful person and wanted to claim to be Mahdi or whatever, and wanted to try and take this hadith for himself, he could have looked and realized that there's a sun and moon eclipse on those middle days like Mirza has made, and quickly claimed to be Mahdi. So you can see how frivolous this point is. It's such a ridiculous. It's not proof at all of a Mahdi. I know Ahmadis, you're listening to this, it's probably a bit shocking to you, and you don't even know what to do with what I'm saying to you. It's like a whole shock to your system, because I'm telling you the truth, and your reality is different. You've been given an alternative reality, which is not the truth. You don't know what to do with the points that I've just said to you here. Repeat the video if you want, digest it. These things, they're not miracles. They're not miracles. That hadith, again, even if the hadith is correct, and remember, it's not from the Holy Prophet. The Holy Prophet did not, the Holy Prophet did not say this hadith. But let's just pretend that the hadith is accurate. Even the hadith doesn't even say it's these possible days. Mirza Ghulam, in addition, has gone and made you say, no, it's of the possible days. It has to happen on 13th and 28th. Okay, 13th and 28th. Miracle, 13th, 28th. No, it's still not a miracle. It happened 4 times that we're showing you in the 19th century alone. And even all these 4 times, Mirza Ghulam was alive, even though he'd only claimed during 2 of those sun and moon eclipses. The other 2 he hadn't made a claim yet, and they happened while he was alive. So 4 times in his lifetime. So do you see how many holes there are in this whole sun and moon eclipse fraud? It's best referred to as a fraud, because it's not theory or whatever, because a theory, at least, if you know it's false, it can't be a theory. You can't call it a theory. We know it's false immediately from all the evidence that you're seeing. So the sun and moon eclipse fraud has so many holes in it. To quickly summarize, the hadith, not the Holy Prophet ﷺ's hadith, it's Muhammad bin Ali. Second point, the hadith, it just straightforward, does not say anything about of the possible days, of the middle days, or 13th or 28th, doesn't say any of that stuff. The hadith says that this sign has never happened since the creation of the heavens and the earth. Now, do you know what that means? That means heaven and earth was created before Prophet Adam. It was created before Prophet Adam. So how many thousands of millions of years are we talking about here? This sign has never happened. Yet Mirza Ghulam degraded it, made it into, it's not a miracle, nothing, and yeah, it happened for me, and I'm that Mahdi, and all this sort of stuff. Remember also, Mirza Ghulam lied, saying that this hadith, or this proof that the hadith says that that it's marked for the 14th century, his coming and all this sort of thing, the eclipse is a sign, blah, 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 for 14th century. That's a lie. He's also lied where he said that it's written that it will happen twice, the sun and moon eclipse. No, there is nowhere, there's no hadith where it says it's going to happen twice. No. So again, that's an additional lie. So you look at how many holes there are here in this whole sun and moon eclipse fraud. And you, please put your hand on your heart. or I know that's a silly way of saying it, let's say in your salah, in your dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, be honest with yourself, say, Allah, I'm trying to be honest here, I'm trying to be honest to myself here. Can I honestly say, Ya Allah, that I believe that sun and moon eclipse that Mirza Ghulam claimed was a miracle and it was for him and all this sort of thing? After you've got all this sort of thing and you find out that it's happened 4 times, even during his lifetime, and luckily these 4 times were during his lifetime. Where's the miracle in that? Where's the sign of Allah that Allah is making sure that I want the people? Because what's the point of these signs anyway? It's meant to help people believe in that person who's making a claim. Well, this thing's happened 4 times already. 4 times during his lifetime. And I believe from the preliminary research that we've done, me and my colleagues, is that Mirza Ghulam claimed all this stuff. He said all this stuff after the eclipses happened. After, he didn't say it beforehand. He started talking about all this stuff after the sun and moon eclipses happened, the 1894 and 95. So it's not even that he's even said it beforehand, and he said it afterwards, which is it's a less pertinent point than these points, but it's something to think about. You wait for something to happen, then you start trying to claim it. You try and make it into a miracle when it was not a miracle. He's basically effectively tried to force the formation of a miracle for his followers. And please, dear listeners, you have to remember the vast majority of people in India at the time of Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, the literacy rate, I think it was only 7 out of 100 people could read. I believe it was 7 or 6 even. 6 or 7 people out of 100 could read. So you have to understand that he really took advantage. He really took advantage out of the people who cannot read. 93 or 94% of people could not read. They could not read. They can't read Urdu. They can't read Arabic. They're not going to read this hadith and realize that he's lied and added all these things, added all these words and meanings that are not there, and dissected it, and feminine and masculine and all this sort of stuff as if it's something that is like Quran sort of thing with a deep meaning. There is no deep meaning. The whole point of a hadith is actually meant to be clarification, not take that clarification and dissect it further and add more meanings to stuff add more words or meanings that are not there. They're not intended to be there. So you have to remember that these people, and maybe some of your ancestors, your great-great-great-grandfathers, were one of those people who were illiterate. Now it's not an insult. It's not an insult to say they're illiterate. They just couldn't read. They didn't have an opportunity to go to school. And it's possible that you are born into Ahmadiyya because of your great-great-grandfather who didn't understand, who was just told about this whole sun and moon eclipse thing and accept him, and that's it, and he went and accepted him without actually reading anything. And Mirza Ghulam was a very cunning person. He was a very cunning person, and if you see our other videos, you'll see where we show that he basically used to use scare tactics on people, scare them into believing in him, scare them into thinking that doomsday is coming and they're going to die or something if they don't accept, especially with his whole thing about the plague. Again, which we'll be following up with another video on that. It won't be too long, that one. Again, that's Ahmadis, they believe that's a sign. That's not a sign or nothing. The plague was already in India before he even said it. So please bear in mind all these things and just think about it and realize that you have not checked this out. You've just gone, you've been born. Since you were born, you've been told sun and moon eclipse, heavenly signs. You haven't checked it out. Maybe even your parents, maybe even your grandparents have not even checked this out. Yet you go on and keep saying heavenly signs all the time and you haven't actually checked it. So do yourself a favor, do yourself some justice and go and check it out. Look at Mirza Ghulam's explanations. Look at everything he says. That's not an explanation. He's actually trying to give you an alternative reality. An explanation is, how is 6 plus 6 12? Explain to me. I would go and get for you 12 oranges and I'll split them in half and I'd put 6 oranges here, 6 oranges there and show you that it's 12. That's logical. That's a real explanation. Mirza Ghulam is going to his writings and they are thought reform. He's trying to change your complete thinking. It's basically brainwashing. He's trying to give you an alternative reality. It's not an explanation at all. And if you want to be honest to yourself, go and check it out and read and find the Arabic translation. We're going to put it on screen anyway. Find anyone who knows Arabic, let them read that out for you. Tell them word for word, what does it say, please? And you'll see where on earth did all this additional stuff come from. Now guys, and listeners, a small additional point again. This hadith, as I've said, this hadith, it's not from the Holy Prophet ﷺ. It's not, as I said, obviously it's not Quran either. It's not Allah's word. If it was, obviously we'd all know it and it'd be true. We wouldn't even be doubting or anything. But look at, try to understand that how on earth can you go and add further meaning to something that has got so much doubt over it and is not even that important. I've said this point a few times. You have to actually realize that, because the way Mirza Ghulam and the Ahmadiyya organization presents this whole Sun and Moon eclipse thing, they present it as if it's fact and it's Allah's word and the Holy Prophet, sorry, not Allah's word, it's Allah's sign and the Holy Prophet's word and all sort of stuff. It's not the Holy Prophet's word, it's not Allah's sign, it's actually nothing. If this sign happens in its literal form, right, the way it's written there, that it will happen on the first and in the middle, then we can say, then we might actually think, you know what, this hadith, even though it's not from the Holy Prophet, it probably was true, because the moon eclipse is supposed to happen on the 1st of Ramadan, which the Ahmadiyya organization will tell you that's impossible. Well, what is a miracle? Ask yourself, what is a miracle? A miracle generally is something that's impossible. But are we going to start putting limitations on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? We're not going to put limitations on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who created this whole universe. We're not going to put limitations. If it says it's supposed to be a miracle, even though we don't even know if the hadith is correct or not, it's meant to be a miracle. Don't start changing it, like Mirza Ghulam has done. Change the meaning of it, added more words into it. Inshallah, please stay tuned. We've got many other videos coming up. All we are trying to do here is warn people not to join Ahmadiyya. Not to join Ahmadiyya. If you want to remain a Muslim, a good Muslim, and try to follow the example of Sayyidina Muhammad, we're trying to warn you not to join Ahmadiyya. The second thing is, we are trying to help Ahmadi brothers and sisters who are trying to just verify now, because you are born into Ahmadiyya, you can't just take my word for it and say, yeah, it's wrong or whatever. No, you sincerely believe it, because that will show that you are a sincere person, that you believe in it until otherwise proven. So you believe in Ahmadiyya, you think it's true, until you can verify that it's not true. Then you'll say, okay, it's not true, I don't believe in it. So, you deserve respect for your sincerity, but you owe it to yourself to actually follow and research clearly. Be fair. Don't just say, oh no, I'm scared, this is really scaring my heart is like not at ease anymore, I can't sleep and all sort of thing. Let any missionary or whatever just give me any old explanation so that I can just put it to bed and shove it under the carpet and pretend like it's fine. Be honest with yourself. The missionary is not Allah. Mirza Masroor, that leader of Ahmadiyya, he is not God. Allah is Allah. Our God is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He will judge us. Mirza Masroor is not going to be with you on the time when you are being judged, when Allah is going to judge you and see what sins you've committed and what good deeds you've done. Mirza Masroor himself is going to be getting judged. And unfortunately, I don't need to continue and tell you, what sort of punishment I think he's going to get for leading or misleading so many people and deceiving the world. And he's the head of Ahmadiyya, and even if he's ultimately responsible for the current Ahmadis, he's ultimately responsible, and all the previous leaders were responsible as well. Inshallah, please, this is a heartfelt, sincere sort of appeal to you. Me, my colleagues, and most other people that we know who have websites showing you the truth about Ahmadiyya and Mirza Ghulam's writings, honestly, they don't have any animosity towards Ahmadi people. They don't have, but they're very angry with the organization. It's a closed organization. They're very angry with it because they ruin people's lives. They split children from their families, husbands from their wives, the children as well from their father and all sort of thing. They ruin people's lives. It's a closed community. I don't use the word cult. I say closed community. Because obviously, that's not. I prefer not to use the word cult, but closed community is what I would call it. And so we're just trying to alert people, these other websites, other people, we've spoken to quite a few of them. They're well-intentioned people. They're just trying to alert people as well. They just want to let you know that this is a deception that you're in. It's hard for you to believe because you see the confidence of Mirza Masroor and all the books that Ahmadiyya organization print, and we've translated the Quran in 60 languages or whatever, and look how we've got MTA and MTA3 and all this sort of stuff. It's hard for you to believe that it's deception. But if you are sincere and you are going to embark on a journey of research, maybe one day you'll realize and you'll say, okay, it was a deception. That guy was saying the truth. You can't take my word for it because it's a life-changing thing. You can't just believe me, you don't even know me. You have to check for yourself. So inshallah, please stay tuned for the other videos. May Allah always keep us on the straight path. May Allah always open our eyes and also give us patience to deal with whatever comes ahead, any difficulties you've got. May Allah give you strength, any people who are listening who are actually, you're already, you don't believe in Ahmadiyya anymore, but you're stuck in it because of your family and all sort of thing. We've got many people who write to us, sisters and brothers, who, believe it or not, they actually don't believe in Ahmadiyya anymore, but they are so trapped, they feel very trapped really, socially really, because all their friends are Ahmadis, or most of their friends are Ahmadis, obviously all their families are Ahmadi, cousins, uncles, everything like that, so they find it extremely difficult to stand up and say, look, I don't believe in this nonsense anymore, I'm sorry, I don't believe in it, you can't force me to believe in this. This is not Islam. I don't believe in Mirza Ghulam as he's not from Allah at all. So we feel your pain. You can email us. Obviously, our website primarily really is to offer support to you, because we know how difficult it is for sisters and brothers. We know how difficult it is, and obviously we try to offer as much evidence as we can, translations and scanned documents on screen. We're trying to help, and it's all for sabilillah. We're not doing it for money. We're not doing it because we have spite or anything like that. No. We are motivated because we were deceived. So this is our motivation. Being deceived and not wanting others to be deceived. We want to alert people. That's it. So please stay tuned, and thank you for listening. This is Osama Sayyid from Islam After Ahmadiyya saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.